Welcome to Airgun Extra, brought to you in association with Crackshot, the Southwest's premier airgun centre and ranges. In this week's episode, I'm taking a close look at the BRK Brocock Sniper XR2, but before that, we join Rich Saunders as he makes a bumper bag of grey squirrels.
Well, that's a great start. I've only been here literally 5 minutes, and in actual fact, when I turned up first thing this morning, as I walked up to the hide, I could see 2 or 3 squirrels on the feeder, and they disappeared while I was sorting myself out and everything, but they came back really quickly. Clearly they're hungry. Now, I put about 6 or 7 kilos of peanuts in the feeder about a week or 10 days ago, and I couldn't see that many in the feed tray when I looked through the scope. So I'm thinking that they might have scoffed the lot, but fortunately I've got a bucket full in the truck, so I'll just go and check out the feeder and see if there's any left. Well, I was right, barely any peanuts left in the feed tray, so I've topped it back up again. Thank God I had some in the truck. Now, that's obviously good news for me because it promises potentially a productive day, but not such good news for the forestry manager because the squirrels cause an awful lot of damage here by attacking the trees, stripping bark. They've just planted a whole load of new saplings that they're getting their teeth into. And also, it's not such good news for the songbirds as well because the squirrels will predate on the nests, the eggs and the chicks. Well, very, very quickly, because there's clearly a lot of squirrels in the area and they're coming thick and fast. The rifle that I'm using is a Reximex Pretensis K, the carbine model, which is ideal for shooting in the hide because it's just that much shorter. The Pretensis is one of my real favourite affordable rifles, and this is priced at around about 650 quid, I think, which is exceptional value for money. It's fully regulated, and this is a 12-foot-pound 22 caliber rifle. Now I'm using JTS dead center pellets through it, the 18.13 grain pellets, and it's laser accurate. It really, really is. 2 magazines with it, 12 shots, and it's fed by a side lever action. As I say, it's fully regulated as well. Now on top I have a Hikmicro Alpex Pro scope, fast becoming one of my favourite scopes, to be honest. Super clear in daylight. It really is. It has a massive sensor on it, really clear, almost glass quality clarity in daylight, and then in the dark, with the addition of an IR torch, it's really clear too. And you can see out to well beyond air gunning distances, to be perfectly honest. And then holding them all together is a set of Sports Match scope mounts, of course. Comes another one. Well, it being the height of summer, there's an awful lot of foliage around here right now, and I could see a squirrel on the floor just to the left of the feeder tree, and he was poking around at something, but fortunately he made his way up onto a log pile and gave me a nice clear shot in the back of his head. And that's another one down. I spotted him on the log pile on the left again, but he made his way over to the feeder, sat on the feeder, good as gold, for another nice, clear shot. Well, I've been a bit reluctant to take shots on the wood pile because the squirrels can sort of fall down within the sticks of wood, but they've been getting increasingly cautious as I've been shooting more and more, and I don't think he was going to commit to the feeder, so I took the shot. But I can see actually on the log pile that he's very dead. I've been caught in two minds. Although there's an awful lot of dead squirrels on the bottom of the tree there, the squirrels just come up and give them a sniff and a poke, but they don't seem to be put off, and they've just kept coming and coming. But that's three now that have approached the feeder and have run off again, having had a little sniff about. So I think I'm going to have to chance it, go outside and have a bit of a tidy up. Well, that's another three in quick succession. It took a little while actually, it took about 20 minutes for them to come to the feeder after I tidied up, and they were still a little bit reluctant, sniffing around whether they could smell the blood from the squirrels or smell me. I'm not sure, but they got there eventually. Time to fill up the magazine. The Alpex Pro A50PL's rangefinder is really easy to use. It's just a press of a button, and you have to put a little square icon on the target that you want to laser. Press the button and that will read the laser, read the distance. Now if you have the ballistic calculator function set up, which is really easy, all you've got to do is enter some basic information about your setup into one of the menus, then it will work out the holdover for you. Now that squirrel there was 24 meters away, which was just 3 or 4 meters beyond my zero distance. But the rangefinder and the ballistic calculator worked out for the holdover for me and dropped me right on the spot. Well, it's slowed down quite a bit as the day's gone on compared to this morning. It's hectic this morning, and there have been quite a few refusals as well. So clearly the squirrels are getting more and more cautious now. But that must be, I don't know, 20 odd squirrels in about 4 or 5 hours, I think. And that just goes to show how effective a peanut feeder tactic can be when it comes to reducing squirrels. Now, some of you are going to say that it's not very sporting, it's not as challenging as stalking squirrels, and that's absolutely right, but that's not what this has been about. This has been a pest control job, removing as many grey squirrels as I possibly can because of the damage that they cause to the trees and the broader woodland ecosystem. And you know, and the tactic has proven to be successful. The gear has been superb. I must say, I'm really impressed with this Pretensis K. It's as I said before, I love the full-size rifle, and this one is every bit as good. Deadly accurate with those JTS dead center pellets, and the Hikmicro Alpex Pro has been really good as well. Nice and clear, and hopefully the footage will show that out. Anyway, I'm going to go and pick up those last few squirrels. They'll be off to the falconry centre, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Don't forget to give us a follow on the Airgun Extra Facebook page so we can keep you informed on everything we're up to. Right then, next up, let's take a look at the BRK Brocock Sniper XR2. Well, I have been having a fantastic time with this review gun. What I have here is the new BRK Brocock Sniper XR2 Hi-Lite. As you can see from the stock, this one is the Safari version, and it also happens to be a high power model. So retail prices start at around about £1,000. This model being high power, as I've said, the Safari edition and also having that carbon bottle, costs around £1,350. The Sniper is a semi-bullpup airgun. Now, that means that the barrel is set quite far back, but not as far back as it would be on a full bullpup. It does make for a nice compact setup though, and even with a relatively long barrel, this one is measuring up at about 1025mm before you fit a silencer. It's also relatively lightweight. This one is tipping the scales at about 3.5 kilos unscoped. I am a big fan of the Safari stock option on BRK and Daystay airguns. Now, I think it's made from poplar, which is a bit lighter than walnut and beech, and apart from giving it a really great rugged look, its rough cut finish is really grippy in the hand. It just performs brilliantly in the field. Its dark finish, I think, is very kind on the eye, but also makes it look very at home out in the countryside. The fore end of the stock has panels of stippling and also incorporates an underside Picatinny rail for accessory attachment. Now it has a nice forward sweep which gives it some extension, although it is still a fairly short fore end. What I would say though is that if it does come up a little bit short for your preferred hold, the bottle still makes for a perfectly comfortable hold point. Moving back along the Airgun Extra stock, you've got a nice steep pistol grip with a decent sized thumb hole cutaway behind it. Now that grip incorporates some stippling. It's really nicely profiled, it's very comfortable, but most significantly, there are a couple of grooves along the top that just steer your trigger finger instinctively onto the blade. You also get a nice bit of adjustment with this stock. So first up, you've got a height adjustable cheek piece. All you need to do is slacken off its locking screws and you can adjust it up and down into your desired position. Now on top of that, you also have a height adjustable butt pad, and between those two features, I've been able to get a really good fit with perfect eye scope alignment. So the metalwork has a black anodized finish. It's very tidy and is a really good match with those smoky tones of the Safari stock. Now I've got a 600mm Lowther barrel on this particular model. There's also the option to have a 430mm barrel, which is obviously quite a lot more compact. Now there's a chunky full length shroud and that does actually provide a bit of sound suppression, although you will still get quite a bark from FAC rated models. It's not a problem though, because you've got a 1/2 inch UNF thread on the end for silencer attachment. There is quite a bit of versatility when it comes to scope mounting. Now you can see that I've got the 2-piece Picatinny rails on here, but beneath them you do actually have dovetail rails if you want a very low scope mounting solution. So the Picatinny setup, as I've said, 2 sections, they straddle the magazine and they give a total of about 220mm of clamping space. Now you can also see that I've only had to use the front section to mount this scope, which does mean that I could take off the rear section of Picatinny rail just to save a little bit of weight. The BRK Sniper XR2 has a brilliant trigger setup. So the blade is match type arrangement and it's fully adjustable. The 2-stage mechanism is also adjustable, but as ever, I have tested it straight out of the box. And I would say that the release is probably a little bit heavier than I would usually go for. But that said, it's probably around about what most people would actually want on a high power airgun. So, first stage weight and travel feel good to me. There is a very obvious stop point. And like I say, although a little bit heavy, and I could adjust it down, that second stage brake is crisp, clean, and totally creep free. There is a paddle type safety catch just in front of the trigger blade. Now it's nice and positive in operation, but it's also pretty quiet. So you push it across from the left to the right into the safe position, and then you push it back across from the right when you're ready to take the shot. The Sniper XR2 runs a tried and tested self-indexing flip front magazine. It's really easy to load, very reliable, and you also get a single shot tray. So your caliber options are 177 with a 13 shot magazine, 22 with an 11 shot magazine, and 0.25 with a 10 shot magazine. The gun I've got here is .25 caliber. The magazine is driven by an excellent side lever mechanism which features a chunky drop down handle. Now unfortunately that handle can't be reversed for left-handers. As a right-hander I found it really comfortably positioned and just perfectly intuitive to operate. It is very smooth, very slick. It is just that sort of reliable side lever mechanism that you can depend on to deliver quick follow-up shots whenever needed. You get some really useful quick access tunability with the Sniper XR2. Now first up, it's got the original power dial. Now that's got 3 stop points, and that adjusts the transfer port and actually adjusts power in fairly large increments. With this gun running 34 grain pellets, it knocks it down to 37 foot-pounds on its lowest setting and then up to 55 foot-pounds on the highest setting. Now the great thing with this model is that you also get a 13-point power wheel at the rear, and that gives you much finer tunability for just tweaking power output, perhaps to just get the optimum performance from your chosen ammo. The Sniper XR2 also boasts a Huma regulator and advanced valve and hammer design. The result is very consistent power output. Now even running this one at 55 foot-pounds, variation of muzzle velocity is remaining within 6 feet per second over a 10-shot string. Now the pressure within that regulator is displayed on the top gauge on the right side of the stock. The bottom gauge shows overall pressure within the bottle, and on this model that is a 480cc carbon bottle. Maximum fill pressure is 250 bar, and with this one running at that full 55 foot-pound output, it will return about 45 shots. Now sub 12 models will return up to 460 shots at full output. When it's time to refill, you simply pull the magnetic clip out from the inlet in the belly of the fore end and then couple up with the supplied connector. You can see that I have paired this gun with quite a large scope. It's the MTC King Cobra 8-32x50 f1, and that is because you really do need a decent scope with some high magnification to take advantage of the long-range potential of a gun like this. Now I actually ran out of distance on my usual range, but at 40 meters it was grouping very, very tightly. Out where I could have a bit more distance, I managed to shoot a ragged single hole group at 60 meters off the bipod, and it was making absolute mincemeat of reactive targets at that range and beyond. I think the BRK Sniper XR2 is a brilliant airgun, and this high power Safari version just takes it to another level. So it doesn't feel like a 55 foot-pound airgun straining to churn out full power. It feels like it's just running on tick over, and with all of that fine adjustability, you really should be able to set it up to do exactly what you want it to do. Now I just think it is a precise and dependable high power airgun that should lend itself brilliantly to long range pest control.
The Great British Shooting Show hits the NEC Birmingham from the 12th to the 14th of February 2027, the UK's biggest and best shooting event. Buy tickets online today.
I'm afraid that's all we've got time for this week, but as ever, we have got lots more in the pipeline, including a podcast coming very soon. Thanks again to Crackshot. There's a link to their website in the show description, and thank you for tuning in. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. As I've said, we're back again very soon. Until then, enjoy your shooting and stay safe.